the killer of Pro Tools. I be doing this shit just the way that I supposed to. When your girl approach me, she know how to approach too. Kiss the ring, but she know I gotta keep it down on the thing. Boy, I ride for the team, it's no question. When you see me out here in the streets, I be blessing everybody that cross me with right words. In your curve, it's deserved to be mine or to hers. I'm gonna grind, yes sir. It's a given. I'ma do it well, based in God living. You should go ahead and sign me up for your children. The ceremony when I'm singing, bring that holy matrimony to everything that I do, because I stay true to myself and won't do anything that's off the shelf. Gotta bring it back, because they know they used to call the boy Johnny Mac. Cause when it came to them girls, boy, I never slack. And I was known for bending them over, break a couple backs. Yeah, so simple. I be off of this and watch the mind go ripple. Just stop, dipple. Good. Just like
I was about to say, please tell me you recorded that.
Yeah, because I was going for a while.
Please tell me you recorded that.
It just was going, just flowing.
It was good though. That might be a cool thing to
little intro.
Yeah.
I just recorded the whole time, so I'm just dialing it in, and then you just go into it and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good cool touch. Like, just gonna come in and rap it, like, well, I can just flow it to it.
I mean, not everyone can beatbox, so.
Yeah.
When you have it, you may as well use it.
Yeah. Look like I'm gonna have to be the co-host.
That's your boy, Myles Ray, the co-host. Myles Ray in the building. We out here. That was perfect, though.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we set? All right, being dear to all of the people that's logged in to us right now, watching us, you are now witnessing Holy Ratchet, where you can come and be holy and stay ratchet. A quick description of what you can expect on this podcast is people coming here and being able to be themselves. I'm very big on perspectives. I like to get people a chance to show the world why they think and how they think, and giving them the platform and hold space for them so that they can express their truth. And with that being said, today, my guest is the extraordinary Myles Ray.
Man.
So Myles Ray, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on, people? My name is Myles Ray. I'm coming by way of Jackson, Mississippi. As you can see, I'm repping. Well, I live in Orlando, Florida right now, so that's how we getting it, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
It's amazing to have you, man. This is my brother. I met him back in like 2012, 2013. We both went to school at Full Sail University. And we have regional ties because my family is from Mississippi as well. Like the deep country of Ruleville. So we made our connection from there.
Country boy.
So, yeah, man. So give us a little background about your craft and what you do and how you got to it.
Like I said, man, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. So that's a very soulful town. I come from a very musical family. You know, I grew up in church just like most people from the South. And, I grew up listening to music. My grandfather, my dad always put me on older music, like actually that had good musicianship. So at a very early age, I grew to have appreciation for music, you know, and I saw at a very young age that I had a love and a passion for kind of creating it and getting the music out of my head that was in my head. So that's kind of what led me to the path that I'm on today, you know.
Dope. So would you say that growing up inside of the church was really helped cultivate your sound as it comes to like really mold your soul into the sound that you develop to this day?
I would definitely say so. A mixture of that and my dad kind of culturing me with different types and genres of music, not just the typical music that you would expect a child to listen to. You know, he kind of made me well-rounded musically and kind of got me interested and put my ear on a lot of different types of music, at a very young age. So I would say that definitely the church was a big influence because we all know like a lot of the greatest musicians that I know come straight out of the church. So it's definitely influence for sure. Because that's where that kind of gave me the playground to kind of hone my skills and see what I was interested in musically. You know, they're very accepting in the church, at least the black church, at least musically. So it kind of gave me a canvas to kind of express myself and see where I wanted to go musically, for sure.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a thing that coming from a Southern background, a lot of our parents do give us a different palette when it comes to music. Because I was listening to hip hop at a young age, but most of the music I listened to was from my father as well. He listened to a lot of rock and roll, so I grew up with a lot of Bon Jovi and Eagles being played.
Yeah, man. My pops would listen to Queen and Steely Dan and, bands like that, and kind of put me on and kind of, as well as like Isley Brothers and Gap Band and like soul music, deep soul music. So as well as the gospel, like I got from my granddad's side, yeah, it's definitely a wide palette of music there that I had to kind of pick and choose from that I would say definitely influenced me today, for sure.
Yeah, that's dope, man. It's beautiful when you see a lot of musicians come from multiple black backgrounds of music and not just one. And like you say, majority of us definitely coming from Southern backgrounds or just from the church, perspective. We all have a foundation in gospel, because that's where my voice was cultivated. That's my first stage was the Christian church. I started singing when I was 3 years old. I led my first song at 3 years old, and it was called "The Child of the King." And I never looked back since then.
That's dope.
So it's beautiful to see that how much talent comes out of the Christian church, man. And yes, it's just amazing. So from there, man, let's talk about a few things right now. You don't have to reveal to us anything that you have in planning right now, but just kind of give us a perspective of your life right now, like the things that are motivating you the most right now, and some things that you might have your eyes that you see in the world, and basically your perspective from it.
Okay, as far as music wise, I kind of got I'm at a point right now where I feel like I'm at a phase in my career where it's time to, elevate, and I'm seeing the importance of having a solid team, So I'm kind of at that point now where I'm focusing on building content and working with other collaborators and other artists, to create content and music, and kind of create a bigger platform to release that music, So that's kind of what I'm focusing on now, is the creation of a bigger platform that can be beneficial for me as well as, everybody else that I'm working with. Like yourself, you know what I'm saying? We got a few projects together. I got a song out right now, Child's Play. Y'all can check that out on all the streaming platforms, featuring yours truly, Dontez, right there. So that's one thing that I got out, and I'm working on a lot of different avenues as far as entertainment, and as everybody know, I'm a musician as well. I play keyboard, so I'm performing a lot out in Orlando and Tampa area and all around Florida pretty much. So that's kind of what's keeping me busy these days, for sure.
Dope. So with him sharing that, I want to share with you guys a big lesson I learned from him. You can learn lessons in life from anyone. It could be a child. And one of the biggest lessons I learned from Myles was to keep things to yourself until you got it where you wanted to be at. Because a lot of times, if you tell people what you're trying to do before it's actually complete, their doubts and their own ideas about it can stunt what you're trying to do. So you want to kind of keep things to yourself and let it happen naturally. And then when it's time for it, you'll know, and then you reveal it to others.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with that for sure. I appreciate you sharing that, because like kind of my whole maybe philosophy would be a good word for it, but like you can't disperse that energy too soon. You got to keep that energy inside of you until you can cultivate your idea or whatever it is that you're working on. Kind of keep that energy inside and use that to make the idea nourish the idea. You know what I'm saying? Before you kind of disperse that energy out and share it with people. That's just kind of what's worked for me in my past.
Yeah, because I notice a lot before, like when I get information or if something sparks my interest, I like to share it. And sometimes you share it too soon, and then someone might put a negative mindset on it, and now you start to question, like, yeah, would this really work?
Yeah.
Or if you just would have kept it to yourself and worked it out, you would have got a lot further. Sometimes that can deter you off your path. So that's really good. And another thing I want to touch on too is that me and this brother have made a lot of music in the past. We actually released an R&B EP not so long ago called Crossroads that was really dope. And we're looking forward to revamping that for you guys and getting it back out there.
Yeah, that was dope. We was way ahead of our time with that one for sure.
Yeah, and the beauty of that project that I would like to share with you guys is definitely for any artist that's on their way up and they're working with producers, the importance of actually having a producer rather than just going on YouTube or just getting things from people. When you actually build with a producer and you organically and you see what they want and what they're looking for, and you guys can draw on the same canvas, because you got to understand that when a producer is creating their beat, they already have an idea what direction they want to go with it. You know, sometimes we as the artists, we don't think about that. We don't think about like, what is this producer trying to do with this track? Because they are artists too. They're just not making the words, but they know what they want to hear because they've been sitting here with this beat and making it. So the great thing about the Crossroads project was that I was able to sit there and organically build this project with my brother. Whereas, because he already had the melodies in mind with every track that we created. So all I had to do was come in and put the words. So that made it a lot easier for me. And a lot of people don't think about that. So that's every time I sit down with a producer, I always try to feel and see where they was going with it. And I just come in and color in where they, the canvas they already placed for you. So
yeah, most definitely. I learned a lot from that project as well. You know, that taught me a lot about having trust. You know what I'm saying? Trusting the process and trusting, you know, the artists that you work with. That's why you know, I don't really work with too many artists because I have to have like a genuine trust before I can, you know, feel like I can trust you with my music. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot about trust in that process and trusting the creative process when you're working with somebody else. So that's definitely important for up and coming producers as well, is to, you know, learn the power of collaborating and learning how to collaborate and, you know, be conducive in a working environment with somebody else that's just as creative or in some cases more creative than you know, or less creative, you know. So it's all about, you know, what's best for the music. That's kind of what I like to see. And I kind of look at my job as like just laying the bed, you know, creating a picture frame for what it is you want to put down lyrically, you know. So I'm just kind of just laying the bed and, you know, leaving the open canvas for you, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I like to look at creating music, for sure.
yeah, so the beauty of that is learning as an artist, even the producers, and you see the producers and definitely engineers, they really have a good science with this where they know how to tap into the magic of the session. And when you're an artist, when you start to tap into the magic of the session itself, you will start to see how the song is already written, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And you just letting it come through your filter.
Yeah.
And because it be times where I'll finish my verse and I'll be like, what am I gonna go with this hook? But if you tap into the magic of the section, the producer or the engineer might start humming something and you be like, there go the melody for the hook right there. And then you start writing the words to it. Then they'd be like, damn, I was thinking about that. How did he even peep that? It's tapping into the little things inside of the sections that'll help you produce the best possible track that you guys can make, because it's always a version of that track that somebody else can make, but we want the best version of that track that you can possibly make. And you do that by tapping into the magic of the session.
Most definitely, I agree. I like that. And another good point of that is kind of not being stuck in the in a loop of what you're used to doing. You know what I'm saying? Kind of jumping out of your comfort zone a little bit is something else that's a good skill to have, being able to switch into a different mode when you with different people or different artists. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely a good skill to have, and being able to tap into the moment and pull down those things that's really already in the room. It's just being able to tap into that creativity. So I'm with you on that.
Yes, most definitely, man. And also, as artists, I know that I've suffered from this myself, where sometimes I get married to the track. Yeah. I have it in my mind a certain way, and it's hard to even take criticism when you just like, this is the way I want to do it. But sometimes you have to unmarry the track and not baby it. And sometimes you can try to be a perfectionist that doesn't even want to let the baby out into the world because it has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do that. You know, you got to let it go, because this can just be something to grow from. Like, people love to see, or definitely your core fans, they love to grow with you. to see like Kevin Hart didn't give us laugh at my pain first. He gave us, I'm a grown little man. So what if he would have tried to wait all the way until then to give us laugh at my pain? He had to give us the prereq to all of that, and he's still growing. So we can look back at Soul Plane and say, man, we grew with this guy. I remember when he came from there. So we have to have that same idea when we create music sometimes. Sometimes that music is just for that time frame to get it out. And it's something that you can look back and grow from. So that's another thing to keep in mind as creators.
No, for sure. I definitely agree. Sometimes I suffer from that. Like I'm sure we all do, as creatives. We get married to an idea because, like you said, sometimes we have something preset in our mind already that we think it should be. But sometimes that's not what's best for the music, So sometimes it takes being in a collaborative environment to be able to hear what's best for the room and what's best for the sound or that song particularly. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you for sure.
All right, so Brother Myles, when it comes to life right now, what motivates you the most to do music? Like, what is your core cause on why you make music these days?
Man, that's a good question. My why is just being able to be in a place where I can create opportunities for other people. You know what I'm saying? I love being able to facilitate success of other people, as well as myself. Like, it's just something fulfilling about that to me. So my why is being able to, like I said earlier, create a platform to where not only I can benefit from it, but I can kind of pass that down to other people, to other creatives, to my children one day, to my family, and I can just branch that off into other things that can kind of snowball into other things and other avenues for other people. So that's kind of what drives me every day, just the fear of mediocrity, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just something about that just eats at me, and if I feel like I can be doing more, it's just something in me that just gotta keep pushing, so that's definitely a cause for why I make music and why I do what I do and kind of go as hard as I do, is just being able to one day seeing myself as a facilitator, if that makes sense.
Okay. And I asked this question because it is very important to have a why. We can't be doing things just to be doing it, because it won't have any substance. And having a why, it doesn't have to be, if you listen to Myles' answer, it was a very simple why, but the snowball effect is what added more content to his simple why. And long as you have a simple intention for why you're doing something, the rest of it will start to grow from that foundation as you interact into your why and into your passion. Because it's a lot of times that we forget why we do things. It was a point in my career where I forgot why I was doing it. And when you start forgetting why you doing things, you start to look for external sources to give you praise and you start to give your value to something that's outside of yourself. So you start to think, like, in order for me to be valuable, I need this amount of fans. I need to make this much money off of what I'm doing. And then my art will be considered valuable. No, your art is valuable because you made it. You made it. You are valuable whether it's one person watching it or if it's 12 million people watching it. You have to know that what you are giving out to the world is valuable. And once you know that and you remember why you're doing it, it can be today, it can be 10 years from now. If you keep that why and you stay consistent with what you're doing, I guarantee you the people that it's supposed to reach is going to get to them. But you have to understand your value. So spinning off of value, what does value mean to you, Mr. Ray?
Man, I feel like that's a deeply packed question right there. To me, I think value is relative. You know what I'm saying? It could kind of change as the days go by. So to me, I feel like value is whatever is fulfilling for you in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So if I create a track right now and I feel like I can get this to the hottest artist in the world, like, to me that track is valuable. You know what I'm saying? So that's my standard of greatness. So I think that's a good way of putting it, is whatever your standard of greatness is. So You know, to me, my values lie in being able to have mental freedom as well as financial freedom, as well as, you know, spiritual freedom. You know, like that kind of piggybacks from the question you asked me before. Like the answer I gave before was kind of more the mundane physical answer, but you know, another part of my why is, and where my values lie, is kind of double-sided answer right here. Is being able to have balance. You know, that's where I found value is balance. Being able to create balance in my life in all areas, you know, mentally, physically, and emotionally, you know. So that's something that I strive towards every day.
Definitely, man. Value is something that humans definitely, like you say, it changes by the season what we value.
Yeah, it's definitely relative to life yourself, you know.
But the most important thing about value that is going to always have value on this planet and inside of our existence is resources. So we always are looking for something to be resourceful. The planet is very resourceful. That's why it's valuable. And so we have to ask ourselves, you know, what are our resources? So your value on a personal level comes from what you can resource into the planet. What do you have? What did you come to this planet to give us? That is your value. Your value could be as simple as, man, I can color like nobody else. But the way you color, when people look at it, it sparks something inside of them, inspires them. You know, it could be the way you take pictures. It could just be the way you talk. It could be the way you walk that inspires people. And you just have to find out what it is that you got from source to resource back into humanity. Because when you resource or you recycle your talents back into life recycles value back into you. So that's how you receive your monetary value inside this planet, by giving the world your gifts, giving us the things that you came here to resource to us, and it's recycled back to you inside of the things that you need to thrive, as far as money, you know, if you a player type, women, whatever your goal is. But you have to know what it is that you came here to resource. And from there, you have obtained value.
No, I agree with that, and I think that kind of elaborated more on what I was saying about balance. Because I feel like in order to know your value, you got to be balanced in life. You know what I'm saying? To be able to not have it your mind clogged enough to see what it is that you bring. You know what I'm saying? That you bring as value. Like, you have to have balance in order to be able to tap into that. So that's a good elaboration on that for sure.
So it's great that he brought up the mind, because one of the biggest topics today is programs, and the many programs that our minds seem to harvest in this day and age, and learning how to be aware of our own programs and how they get in our way, and to find solutions to reprogramming our mind so that we can have a better life. So I would like for Myles to give us an example of a program that he's dealt with and how he was able to overcome it, and you know, how he became aware of it, and hopefully his example can bring awareness to you so that you can see any programs that might be hindering you from being the person that you need to be for us.
Okay, for sure. I think this is a good topic, because this is something I've been talking to people in my family about recently. You know, just last night, me and my sister was kind of having this same conversation. So I think a lot of times us as people, some things we think that gets passed down that we call genetic is kind of playing into what you're saying. That's a program. You know, I think sometimes we get passed down habits and thoughts and eating habits. It could be even eating habits, you know, or just everyday living habits that we get from our parents that we don't know, or just even just people that we're around every day. It could be a classmate or a best friend, or, you know, just basically just the environment that you in. We adapt a lot of those habits that we think is just normal sometimes, until you kind of step out of the comfort zone or step out of your environment that you can kind of look at kind of holistically and see that, like, man, like, that's not all that it is to it. So moving to Florida kind of helped me a lot and kind of helped me in that aspect, and kind of helped me kind of pull the curtain back and see like why I am the way that I am. Like, because now when I go back and visit, I kind of just observe. I'm very observative now, and I see, like, okay, that may be why I might have commitment issues, or that might be why I'm not as affectionate as I should be sometimes towards people. You know what I'm saying? So I learn a lot about myself now that I'm able to step out of my normal environment and kind of look at it from a different lens, if that makes sense. So I think moving from my environment, you know, where I grew up, kind of helped me overcome a lot of that, or not even overcome, because it's a everyday process. You know, it's a constant battle, like yin and yang. It's constant. You know, so it just helped me realize it, and I think that's the first step to solving a problem or correcting the issue or evolving as a person, is realizing, you know, what it is and being able to kind of pinpoint it, you know.
I definitely agree. The biggest thing is that your circumstance is limited by your perception of it. So when you're able to step out of a certain limitation that you have put on yourself mentally, you start to see things from a different point of view, which allows you to open yourself up and be more free in your experience. And a great example is like what Myles was saying, when you leave a hometown, which is already programmed in its ways, and one of the biggest things that you will hear people that's programming you, majority when you're a child, as the parents, they would just say, this is just the way things are, or that's just the way it is. That's the world we live in. So now you are setting these limitations inside of your programming, inside of your mind. So before you can even go and deal with the world, you already have this mindset that I can only do this, or this is only meant for me to do this. So you're already setting yourself up for failure. But when people say things like your success is right on the outside of your comfort zone, people think that the comfort zone is something that you just got to just jump out there naked inside the wind or inside the water. But it's really as simple as challenging your day-to-day habits. Your comfort zone could be like in the morning you choose to sleep in to 8 o'clock when you know you should be up at 6. A simple adjustment in that and waking up at 6 will open up different opportunities for you. Right. That's getting out of your comfort zone. It's those little things.
Exactly.
And it's something that that Jeff was telling us today, was like waking up every day, because life itself is a project. Life itself is a process. Treating life like you would any other project, whether it's like you doing a podcast, or look at life like every day I'm going to put makeup on this pig and continue to do it day by day. And from there, you know, it's almost a foolproof way of living, because you are building things brick by brick. Whereas where you're trying to rush things or you're getting too clouded in your mind, this allows you to breathe and flow with life. Right.
And even elaborating on that, like you were saying, as far as when I say get out of your comfort zone, I don't even, just for me, it was moving to Orlando. You know what I'm saying? That's just was what my path was. But getting out of your comfort zone could be, like you said, something small, just whatever your environment is at that moment. It might just be take a trip, like just go out and see something different than what you're used to seeing. You know what I'm saying? And that could just spark a different thought process in your mind that'll give you a different idea, or that'll give you a different opportunity, or give you a different chance to meet a different person that you wouldn't have met if you hadn't have stepped out of that comfort zone, or if you hadn't have woke up at 8 a.m. that morning, or if you didn't go to that meeting that you were supposed to go to, or if you didn't start that podcast. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stepping out of your environment, not necessarily moving or necessarily going to a different place physically, but kind of just being able to expand yourself mentally and seeing more things and more options that's available to you out there in the world, just not inside of your normal comfort zone, you know. So, yeah.
Definitely. And then you have to upgrade your programming. Programming that worked in 1972 is not going to work in 2022. It's a different world. So you have to upgrade your programming. Now, there's some things from that mindset of 1972 that can be utilized here. You know, it's some things that were just grounded and that built the foundation for us to be here in 2022. But you have to upgrade your programming, because if you don't, then you become a dinosaur, and dinosaurs become fossils, as you can see. So we have to learn how to upgrade and mold with the times, and like be more like water, and allow ourselves to grow.
Real quick, I'm curious why you picked 1972.
The real reason I picked 1972 is from a conversation we had earlier, because we were talking about how this building here was and how the musical origins inside of this building and this space all started in 1972. The actual establishment that we're in and the one that we're next to, Michael Jackson, a lot of James Brown, a lot of rock bands did a lot of music here. There's a lot of history in this space here alone. And one of the things I was telling Jeff and Myles earlier was how learning how to tap into the energy that's already inside of the building, because what our ancestors called it was ashe. And ashe is the building up of energy in something over time. So you speaking ashe into something, or something's building ashe from dealing with it day by day. So being able to tap into the ashe or the energy of this building can help, catapult you into different levels of success that the normal person who doesn't take heed to the environment and pick up on the energetic signatures that's inside of an establishment, and be able to be grateful for them and use them to their advantage. So that's the reason that 1972 stuck up inside of my mind, which is another reason it's really good to tap into the flow of a conversation, because I said 1972 subconsciously so that I could explain this to you guys. It was a way that the conversation flowed so that I was able to remember to say this to you guys about that. So it's really good to learn how to tap into the energies of your surroundings and utilize them to not only help yourself, but to help others.
Word, that's dope. That's dope. See how I threw you that alley hoop right there, man?
That was a good one.
Word.
So I want to get back to programming, because I know someone that's listening right now is dealing with some programmers in their life. And one of the biggest programs that a lot of us deal with is the financial programs. When you grow up inside of impoverished communities and your parents didn't have much, and you're used to seeing people struggle, you start to think that this is the way of life. And this could be one of the biggest blocks that's in your way from you to living a life of freedom and having prosperity, is because of your own programming that you have from your parents, from the environment that you lived in, and the ones you put on yourself. And I want to share with you guys a programming that I had. So hopefully, from observing my programming and how I found the solution out of it, it inspires you to find your way out of yours. So when I was a child, I lived with my grandmother and my grandfather. They were basically my parents from the age 3 to 11. And whenever I would ask one of them for money or for something, they always brought up a bill, or like, oh, this bill has to be paid, or this and that. So my young mind made up that, okay, all of adults' money go to bills. So I carried this with me into my adulthood unknowingly. And I realized for maybe 4 or 5 years in my adult years, I had the mindset that all of my money was going to bills. I would even tell people all the time, like, man, I don't never have no money left over, man, because every time I get money, man, another bill popping up, man, this and that. This was my programming that was set inside of my mind at a young age. And I was brought to awareness of this program by having self-awareness. Like, man, why do I keep saying this stuff? I wake up in the morning and I would project into the future or visualize in my mind a month of me struggling to make ends meet. I said, why would I do that to myself? Why would I wake up in the morning and see the cup half empty instead of half full? So I had to make the mental adjustments. So I started saying, I would wake up in the morning and I would say, man, I have all the money I need to pay my bills, and I have money left over to save and to enjoy my life. And after a while of doing this and being consistent with it, I started to see my life shift. My wife at the time didn't have a job, but all of a sudden she got a job, so I was able to save more money. New opportunities started to come in to bring in more wealth, and prices of product went down. So I was able to bring in maybe an extra $2,000 to $3,000 a month to play with, simply by shifting my mindset, by suggesting something new to my subconscious mind and creating a new program, releasing that old programming and bringing in a new program, which I'm still building on to this day. Because the thing about programs is when you're trying to get out of it, your ego is so set in this program, and it's being loyal to you because it say, oh, this is what we're gonna do. Well, we're gonna keep at it strong. So what we do to stay inside of our programs, we make excuses. Your excuses are your things that keep you inside of your comfort zone and inside of your programming. So once you learn how to allow your excuses to, when they come, they're gonna come, but don't sit with them. When you sit with them, that's how you become heavy, and that's how you become blocked and stagnated. Allow it to come and then gently push it away. This keeps you light and opens you up to new ideas and new options for life. So by doing that, I was able to see a great shift in my life that opened me up to meet new people. Because around that time, when I was making this shift, I actually met Jeff, who is the one that's running this podcast for us. And it opened up, and from our relationship, we got here. I never knew that I would be here doing this right now. But for me, just shifting my mindset, opening up new opportunities for my life, it brings in new people. Because when you put yourself in a box, you can only be in that box with the people that's inside of that box with you. But once you step outside of that box, you open yourself up to new surroundings, new people. And that's what we have to learn to do. Be mindful of the words you're telling yourself when you wake up in the morning. Be mindful of the thoughts that you are keeping throughout the day, because you cannot have anything that is outside of your being. What are you being right now? Because whatever you can say that, okay, I'm a positive person. But if you're doing negative stuff all day, it's impossible for you to be a positive person, because you are being negative. You have to be positive. It's impossible for somebody who's a coward to be brave. You have to be brave. I can't be a coward and brave. You have to be one. You have to be very mindful of your state of being. And this is what I would consider mindful prayer. Mindful meditation is being mindful of your thoughts, words, and actions in every moment. And the more you practice this on a daily basis, the better you'll get at it. You will start catching yourself having these thoughts. It's not to fight the mind, because you fight the mind, you're gonna mess around and lose. It's about allowing it to flow through you and not letting it sit in your mind. Allowing it to just flow and go instead of holding it. Because when you hold it, what happens when you hold these thoughts inside of your mind, or you hold these visions, you start to give them energy. You start to amplify them with your feelings. And your feelings is what gives it its power. So now that's when it starts to manifest into your life. But when you don't give it the power of your attention and your intention, these things will just completely flow away. Do your best to only give your intention and your attention to the things that you want to see in your life. So if you want to see better days in your life, you have to see it in your mind. Energize it with your feelings. Energize it with your feelings. That's what our emotions are there for, to energize the lifestyle or the people we want to like energize that with your emotions. And I guarantee you, if you do this on a consistent basis, you will see the shift that you want to see in your life. And I am a living testimony of that.
Nah, for sure. Definitely, I can attest to that too, man. Being intentional is definitely important. It wasn't until I was intentional about what I wanted down to the dates until I realized that power in my mind is definitely a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like down to the day that I wanted something, and when it started to happen that way, I'm like, okay, like I'm on to something. So you really have to be intentional, and you really have to, like you were saying earlier about the reprogramming. You gotta, I'm speaking for myself from personal experience. Like you really have to reprogram yourself to be grateful. That's what I learned worked for me. Like I started being grateful for what I had and for what I knew I was gonna have already. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the key to the engine, like gratefulness. You know what I'm saying? So once I started being grateful and intentional, I started to see things just change for me. You know what I'm saying? And more like financially, and I started to notice more things that I needed to fix about myself. You know, once I started being grateful for what I had and the stuff that I didn't have, that's actually more important than being grateful for what you have. Is being grateful for what you want. Like that sounds kind of weird, but I'm telling you, like once I reprogrammed my mind to do that, things started to open up. So I can definitely attest to being intentional as well as being grateful for the things that you don't have, as well as the things that you do have, and that's when the floodgates kind of started to open up for me, you know.
You heard that, people? Having an attitude of gratitude is very important. And we have to check our attitudes on a daily basis. Sometimes your life is the way it is because of your attitude about it. Some of us have some very nasty attitudes about life. And a great way to practice gratitude, like you said, is just to be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for the things that you've overcome already. Be grateful that you're still here because someone's not here. And we always try to say that we don't have power over how we feel about a certain situation. We cannot control every circumstance or every outcome, but we can control our attitude about it. We can control the way we feel about it. And this is like if you sitting in traffic, and you can sit in traffic mad all day, but you're still gonna be in traffic. But if you just sitting in traffic like I'm gonna be here anyway, and you come from an attitude of gratitude, you never know. You might be, then you start to open yourself up to see like, well, maybe I'm in traffic because I'm supposed to get somewhere at a certain time. And you might get to where you need to be at now at the perfect time to meet the person you're supposed to meet because they coming out at the same time you coming in.
That's a fact.
So you have to keep that in mind. And I would like to share something really quick about how we need to have better awareness of our emotional state and that we are in control of it, and to not give people the power, give people this power. I was at the park with my children one day, and my son got angry because these other little children wouldn't play with him. And I noticed the shift in his attitude, and his sister noticed it too. So she started to come play with me. So I brought him to me and I set him down. I said, son, what's wrong? Like, you're not gonna get in trouble. Like, this is nothing to get in trouble about. Like, tell me what's wrong. So he started to cry. He said, Dad, I'm sad because they won't play with me. So I allowed him to cry because where I'm from, you know, if you a little boy cried there, like, oh, shut up, man, you little punk. So I allowed him to cry, allowed him to feel the emotion. And I said, son, now that that's done, I want to ask you, where did this feeling of sadness come from? Did it come from them or did it come from you? And his face lit up. And he said, wow, it came from me, Dad. I said, did you notice that your emotional state came from you? It didn't come from them. He was like, yeah, I did. And he seen that he had power over his emotions at that point. And he started to get up and just started to play with his sister and let it go. And the importance of this story was, I'm glad I was able to catch it in the moment so he can learn that life lesson. Because I explained it to him when we got in the car, like, yo, son, you have the power about how you feel about your life and situation. Don't give that power away, because those kids kept on playing without him. You know, they didn't care if he was mad about it or not. They just kept on playing. But his attitude and his emotion was shifted because of how he felt about the situation. And once he realized that he had the power over how he felt about it, he got back on that thing and started playing and like it never happened. And I could tell that it has carried with him on a day-to-day basis. So we have to be mindful that when we let things that's outside of us to control how we feel in our emotions, we give it our power. And they, you know, a lot of times things that's external, you don't give a care how you feel because they gonna go on about it's gonna go on about the way it's gonna go. But you have to be mindful of how you feel about things and understand that your power is that, no, I'm choosing to be mad right now. I'm choosing to be sad right now. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to be any way you want about it. But you have to understand that you have that control and that power belongs to you. And you just can't give it away to anybody. Don't give them the luxury of taking away your joy and your happiness.
No, I agree. I think as creatives, that's something that we all deal with, and I think that's a good point to make for people that's creatives and not even creatives, but especially creatives to home, because I feel like we kind of deal with depression in a way sometimes, like because we look for validation sometimes for our work in outward places, and sometimes when you may not get that because of the way social media might be set up or the way you might just be thinking in your head, like it's good to kind of remind yourself that, like, look, I hold the power of my emotions, and it's kind of like a roller coaster sometimes with creative people, you know. So I think that's important. An important skill to have is to be able to like remind yourself that like you got the power to kind of program your own reality, like what we were saying with the topic. So it just comes with realizing, just like the story you just told with Jayan. Like once he realized that he had the power to shape his fun for that day, like his whole paradigm changed. So that's something that I had to realize myself, and it's something that I'm still striving to perfect, like to this day. Being able to snap myself out of the moments where I might be doubtful about something, or that I might be worried about. It's good to be able to give yourself that self-validation sometimes, like from within. Yep.
I agree with Myles 100% because I deal with it too as a creator. And I just had to get myself out of one of those dilemmas recently because I started to forget why I was doing it. And I was starting to look for validation. And as an artist, when you start to look for validation, you're trying to please the crowd. You're trying to listen to what everybody listens to, and you're trying to give them exactly what you think they want to get. But as an artist, as a creative, it's our job to give the people what we have. And I had to remember, like, I like making this music because I like hearing the stuff I come up with. I get excited with some of the stuff I write. I'm like, I want to see what I'm gonna write next. And I can't do that trying to please a crowd because I have a mission. And I know my most potent thing is my message. Because one thing you're gonna get from me and my music is a message. So that's the most potent thing. So I love this. I love the process of seeing how that message is gonna come about and how creatively I can do it. And I forgot about that because I was so caught up like, yo, why hasn't this happened yet? Like I've been doing this for years. I've been developing, and then I'm like, am I even meant to do this? Like, am I on the right path? And I had to tell myself, to remind myself, yes, you are. It's what you've been doing your whole life. All you're doing is molding yourself for that moment. Just keep working, keep stacking it up,
Yeah. And I think it's important to surround yourself with good, genuine people in that process too, like people that you really cultivated a relationship with. Because sometimes, your friends, your real good friends can like sense something on you and like say something to you that you might need to hear. You know what I'm saying? That could get you out of that slump. Like, hey, bro, like you good, bro? You need to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's good to have uncomfortable conversations with your friends. You know what I'm saying? I got a friend back home in Jackson that always have uncomfortable conversations with me. Like we talk about therapy and everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's something that's stigmatized. And especially in the Black community, you bring up therapy and you like, oh, you crazy. Like people think it's crazy or it has a negative connotation. But I think it's good to have good people in your corner that can like have them type of conversations with you and that could kind of give you an open and a unbiased opinion or view about something that you might be going through that they may not even know about. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they know you so well that they can communicate that with you without doing that. Like I think me and you kind of got that dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime you in a little slump, I'm like, hey, bro, I can feel that. You know what I'm saying? Like let's get in the lab, bro. Let's do something. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's good to surround yourself with people that's aligned with your purpose and that's able to be compatible with your vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like that's very important to have genuine people around you.
I agree. It's very important to surround yourself with people that you can grow with, that everybody's growing. We don't have to be growing at the same pace, as long as we all growing. Facts. Because everybody's gonna grow at their own timing, and just holding space and respecting people's timing. But the most important thing is we all growing. And you'll notice even in this process that if someone is not growing with you guys, like they usually just fall off of you, and you won't even recognize. You'll be like, "Dang, man, we ain't seen bro in a while."
Yeah.
And it could be that y'all not even that person's not growing. Y'all could just be growing in different directions. You gotta let life unfold that way sometimes. You don't. Sometimes you don't even have to cut people off. Like life will do it in a way where it's no hard feelings, and you see it a lot in relationships where it's just time for a relationship to end, but the two people have this connection so strong that they don't know how to do it without making a mess. Like I have to hate you in order for me to get away from you. But to be wise enough to notice like, yo, this is coming to an end, and we probably should just talk about this and go our separate ways instead of like making this dilemma so it's impossible for us to even want to revisit this relationship.
Thanks.
But that takes a lot of self-awareness and understanding and wisdom to notice like, this has ran its course. It's time to walk away from this.
Yeah, and I mean, they don't even have to be like an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
That could be a working relationship. That could be any type of relationship, a platonic relationship. Like sometimes you just gotta be able to recognize like when it's their time. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be an artist you working with in the studio as a producer. Like sometimes you just gotta recognize like, all right, this might not be it. So keep from wasting your time and a lot of other people's time and energy as well.
That's a fact, man. But that's the beautiful thing about life and sharing it with so many people on this planet. It's the experiences. And I'm grateful for every experience that I've had with every single human being that I've encountered, whether it was deemed something that we perceive as good or bad. It all played into making me the version of myself I am today. And with that being said, I would like to really get a background or a history of how was life for you in a nutshell growing up in Jackson, Mississippi.
Man, Jackson, Mississippi. Y'all see me with my Jackson State hat on right now. Shout out to Deion, man. He doing it. Deion Sanders doing a lot for the city and for college football altogether, man. But growing up in Jackson, Mississippi, man, I had a good childhood, man. I grew up with both my parents in the home, which was rare. From somewhere like where I'm from. I grew up just humble beginnings, man. Just like any other child from the South, visiting grandparents every summer, going to school, making friends, playing basketball. I pretty much had a normal childhood, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I got introduced to music at a very young age, and that I started cultivating that. So here I am today. That led me to Florida, to Full Sail University. I graduated from there. And I always brought my roots with me from Jackson, Mississippi, I carry that with me every day. So, yeah, pretty much very, very humble beginnings, man. Nothing too crazy. Just like any other Southern country boy.
Definitely, man. I have family from Jackson, Mississippi. My mother's father is from Jackson, Mississippi. But I was more in tune with the Ruleville, Mississippi side because that's where my father was from, so I spent a lot more time with his parents. So I would be out there in Mississippi, and it's the ambience is totally different from East St. Louis. It's totally different from Florida. It's just total different ambience of living for them, and everything's a lot more intimate. Yeah. That's the best way I can put it. If you feel a sense of community and family.
Yeah, when I'm home. Definitely, it's a lot of culture in Mississippi for sure. That's one thing I can say. It's a lot of culture and hospitality, and you learn a lot of good values, like we was talking about earlier. I learned a lot of my values and the way that I think from Mississippi. It kind of keeps me humble in a way to kind of always remember where I came from. Jackson could be a rough place sometimes, but the fact that I was able to kind of stay focused and see more for myself, I can appreciate that. That makes me appreciate it even more, where I'm from. So shout out to Jackson, Mississippi for sure.
So if you can say anything to a little kid that's on a similar path to you right now, a little Myles that's inside of elementary school right now who's building his catalog as a musician, what advice would you give to that little kid in Jackson, Mississippi who's on this path to becoming a world-class musician?
Man, invest in yourself by all means possible. Whatever you got to do to invest in yourself and believe in yourself, man. Like, just don't stop. Just invest in whatever tools that you need, whether it be a keyboard, whether it be you might have to hustle your mama out of $200 to get some headphones. I know I did that a couple times. Shout out to moms. I grew up. I started playing keyboard in the church at a young age, so I was able to make a little money, and I also was in a blues band. Shout out to Jerika Singleton, like the Jerika Singleton band. I started playing with them, and that kind of gave me a lot of experience, like going on tour and playing for crowds, and it kind of developed that. So if I could say anything to a young Myles, man, it would be to take any opportunity that you can to develop your craft and invest in yourself and get you to the next level of what you feel like you need to get to. Like, don't be scared to make a move and move to that new state, fresh out of high school. Like I was fresh out of high school when I moved to Orlando, Florida. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really have a plan. My sister lived out here at the time, and her husband allowed me to stay with her for a little while, and you know, until I was able to make another move, and I did that, and I haven't looked back ever since. So sometimes you just gotta go with your gut and jump out on a limb. If you know that it's something that's there for you, then you gotta make that move, man.
Speaking of investments, what are some of the things that that you have out there, projects that you want the people to know about, products, anything that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I got Child's Play out right now featuring Dontez. Got that out. I actually produced a track on Dontez's album Holy Ratchet that he just released called Respect. Y'all can check that out. Check that whole album out, man. It's definitely a classic for sure. I'm working on a project myself right now, so that should be coming out soon. Got a lot of visuals for Child's Play coming out. And just like I said, I'm looking forward to collaborating with a lot more artists. I've been collaborating with some dope artists in the area as far as live performing and some studio stuff as well. So I'm just looking forward to, like I said, enlarging that platform and putting this stuff out, man, and getting it in. I'm trying to have my foot on the gas from here on out, you know.
And if you're inside the Orlando area, Myles actually does a lot of live gigs, and it's a very magical experience. I think you guys should definitely try to check him out if you're here, and follow him to see where he will be at and come out and support.
Definitely. Follow me on Instagram, man. Myles_Ray. That's MYLES _Ray on Instagram. Yeah, follow me there. Click the link in my bio to take you to all the music. And yeah, keep up with me, man. Keep your eyes open, because it's gonna be big. I think at the beginning of this year, me and my boy Dontez right here, we kind of manifested something. I think we felt the same energy in the air at the same time. Like, bro, like this year, the soil is very fertile. You know what I'm saying? So by that I mean, like, whatever it is that you're trying to do this year, like, plant that seed, and the benefit of that is gonna be tenfold. Like this year, something about it. Like, it's been a rough time. It may seem like that to a lot of people, but destruction brings creation at the same time. So when something is destroyed, something new is created. So I think this tough time we've been in is gonna birth a lot of new creatives and a lot of prosperous things right now. So definitely plant that seed, and let's get it popping, man.
Definitely, man. And also, if you need a musician for a gig or something, you can get at him as well. He does it all. So yeah, just book Myles Ray, and I guarantee you that you won't be disappointed at all. And I would like to plug in a few of my products as well. One being the Elemento clothing brand. It's spelled LMNO. This is the main logo, the key logo, and but it's pronounced Elemento. Like when you was a kid, you'd be like Elemento P. So it's pronounced like that, even though it says that. And you can find that inside of the link in my bio on my Instagram page, and you can also find it in the description below, where I will be also putting Brother Myles Ray information where you can find him at as well. And also, the Holy Ratchet album is out, along with the Holy Ratchet book, which details my creative process for each track and what I was going through at the time and how I put it all together. So I think you will really enjoy it. You can order that book too from the link in the bio, or you can directly contact me, and I can give you one that is actually signed, and we can go from there.
Yeah, this is my copy right here.
Yeah, that's his copy there.
I got my dog looking like Commando Bando on the front.
That's me. So that's the beauty of creating, and it's something I can share with creators now, is knowing what you're good at and investing in yourself, because all the things that you're good at can be resourced into the planet. Now, I know I'm an artist, but I love to write. So I know I can do I can be an author. I know I can write. I know I can do these different things. I know I can act. So I won't just limit myself to just doing one thing when I can make residual income off of many things and just be doing things off of pure passion, just doing the things that I love and that I naturally do. So that's something that we need to learn how to tap into. And you can only find these resources when you tap into your authentic self, when you are being your authentic self in every setting. So learning how to be you, the best version of you on a daily basis.
Facts, man. Yeah, don't be scared to broaden your horizon, man. A lot of times, if you look, this something that I say a lot as well. A lot of times, if you look at people that's in the music industry, they get in the music industry and then they branch off to other things, you know. So don't be scared to start, you know, dabbling in other things or at least learning about it, so that when you got the platform or the means to do those, like, you already kind of be a step ahead. So definitely, don't be scared to broaden your horizon when it comes to being an entrepreneur. That's something that I'm big on as well.
Yes, and you can also contact me for lifestyle coaching, and I also assist with spiritual counseling. It's not my job to tell you what to do in your life. It's my job to help you figure out what it is you're trying to do for your life. So I'm not a person, I'm not here to be your personal guru. You are your own guru. I'm just showing you how to unveil yourself, or showing you how to read the confirmations for your own life so that you can go out and be the great leader that we need you to be. Because I'm not into having a lot of followers. I'm into helping people become their own leaders and teaching others how to tap into their own powers as well. So you can always contact me and we can discuss from there and go from there as well.
Word, man.
So is there anything else you'd like to share with the people today, Brother Myles?
Nah, man, this was dope, man. Thanks for having me, man. Hopefully we can do this a lot more often. Thanks for having me, bro. This was dope.
Definitely won't be the last time we have him on set. And
you never know. I might be the co-host next week.
You never know. He might pop up next week.
You know what I'm talking about?
And I'm interested to see who we will have next week too. And I definitely won't tell you guys. It'll be a surprise for you as well. So with that being said, man, you were in tune to the Holy Ratchet podcast, where you have the platform to be heard, to be yourself, and let the world know your truth. So be holy, but stay ratchet.
Stay ratchet, baby.